What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi, and we're going to be talking today about the latest heroic trial. Now, you got a few days left on this bad boy. You've got basically until the 14th of July, but you probably don't want to sleep on this, because if you're like us, and your pulls were terrible, I mean, awful, you want to know who to put your bonds into. Now, for me, in my money, I got to say, I really feel like the Haru unit, if we go here to the exchange, I'm enjoying Haru a lot, but I don't know if I'm ever going to put a bond into her. I'm going to collect her bonds. I'm going to hold on to her bonds, but I don't know if at any point in time she's going to be worth bonding. She's a really good sack unit. I have a whole video planned on this unit alone. I didn't talk about her SA when we dropped her information, and that was a mistake, because it is like the absolute best thing about her. Even overshadows the OG. She's just a great unit all around. Welf, another fantastic unit, and he's actually really good for the Record Buster that we're going to be talking about in a couple of days. But as always, I kind of personally feel like Ilya might be your best choice, just because she's the assist, and you know, you get better bang for your buck just simply out of assists. So really, choices here are tough. I really don't feel like haruhime is going to really pay dividends. I really feel like she's honestly more of a sack unit. Someone did ask in a couple videos ago, what do we mean by sack? Literally, it's just short for sacrifice. Basically, it's a unit you're going to bring out of the field, use once, and let them go away. In the case of haruhime, the best thing about her is her SA. So when you see my Record Buster video, which I should be bringing out later today, basically we bring her in, we use her once, and let her do her SA, and then let her get killed off. The entire reason the final fight occurred in Season 2. Yes, I am aware, and I feel remorse every single time we do it. We're literally as bad as the start from Ilya. But neither here nor there. If you're asking me what bond do I get, I really feel like Ilya is going to be slightly better than Welf, but that's my opinion. I know Welf is amazing. I know he's been doing really awesome stuff on teams, but as always, I just feel like you get better bang for your buck out of assists than adventurers. That's my opinion. But either one of those two are fantastic picks. Now, how do you take this event on? Well, the event is stupid easy, and if you've noticed here, generally in these types of events, I always say it's actually better to bring a single target team, but I've got an AoE team. And the reason I've got the AoE team is because, well, frankly, they just simply clean up. They really do a wonderful job of this, and they kill it very quickly. Now, my units are max limit broken, but if you watch here, in the center there, my Ana Kitty, she's actually going to hold her own. Even though she's only 3-star ascended, and she's only +2, she's going to hold her own, so long as haruhime gets her heals off in time. And basically, she's our litmus test for how survivable this situation is. So let's go ahead and jump in. Now, you can either use water, or you can use wind. I'm choosing to use wind. You will notice here that water is down 35% after all of my debuffs, but I believe water attribute, yeah. So water attribute is down 15%. So haruhime would naturally be weak to water, whereas Wealth would be naturally weak to wind. Now, haruhime does have a healing factor to her. She's a pain, so I always try to like target haruhime and get rid of her first. So we're going to do Spotlight with Line. If you're not familiar, Line is like our #1 sack unit. We always use her. She gives 33% SAH charge and a bunch of really good stats. There are other units that you can use that do this nowadays. There's like 5 or 6 units in the game now that do the same thing. In fact, we just got one. But I'm going to stick with using her only because it's an old team and it checks out. So we're going to do skill 1 with Finn. It's an AoE attack. I would prefer to do single targets, and we'll get to single targets shortly, but it does do wind resist and increases his strength and agility. Ana Kitty. Great unit, by the way, and you'll see what I mean by that here in a moment. She's going to do strength and wind attack damage 35% for all allies. So if an ally doesn't get a wind damage buff, she's going to do it. Foes, remove strength, magic, and agility buffs. This is going to be really important because if they do buff themselves, and I don't I think Welf does actually. She can get rid of all that with skill 1. It'll be really nice. It'll prevent us from taking a huge amount of damage. In fact, wise person probably would spam that, but I am going to use skill 2 next turn. And finally, that brings us to Ryu. Slow, magic, dex, magic and dex plus 30%, self, wind attack damage plus 70%. Now remember, that's magic and dex to all allies. Wind attack damage plus 70% for 3 turns, and 3 actions low wind magic attack. So she's basically, everybody's buffing like across the board. Like this is a big buff stack here. Okay. Now I do want to emphasize once again, I am going to focus on Haruhime. She's our biggest threat. She's a healer, and that means if she gets her heals off, that's going to be just a big, massive problem that we're going to have to deal with, well, constantly, as you'll see. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and use this on a kitty. Hilarious that I have both on here. And she does it really doesn't matter what you do here. What I'm basically doing is I'm debuffing all in single target damage. Base, that means they're going to take 20% extra single target damage here. I could use Wayne here. That's literally the sack system that I talked about before. Where basically on turn 4, we get her SA. Everybody gets weaker, and then we just take them out faster. But this team is so fast, we don't need that. So just with her skill 1, and then once again, at the end of this turn, she's gone. Okay? Everybody else moves on to skill 2, and that's just continuing their buff stack. Let's continue down this road. Okay? Perfect. Perfect. Now, I will say there are situations in this case where either one of the Ana kitties will die, and if that happens, that's fine. We can actually just go restart this, but we're actually in a great spot now because the both Ana kitties did survive. That means we are well within the bounds of acquiring the S-Clear. The S-Clear is just right in our grasp. So what we need to do is we need to debuff with Haruhime. Now, you will notice that I do natively have Yosuga selected. That's because I haven't changed our skill flow. This was skill flow, I think, made for 7th zone. So I'm just going to go ahead and do Yosuga here. That's going to give us a little bit, or I'm sorry, Akane. That's going to do us a little bit of debuffing. It's going to drop their strength of magic down 40%, which they don't have any debuffs yet. And their magic resistance and physical resistance is buffed, but that's going to be gone next turn, so it doesn't really matter. Now, you will notice that she is not buffed, and actually he's not buffed either, so we don't need to worry about that. So literally we can just continue on with these attacks. Now me personally, I prefer to get rid of Haruhime, so I am going to go ahead and start doing single target attacks. Feel like that is just going to be a little more worthwhile and hit just a little bit harder. Let's see. Yeah, we'll keep doing that. Says debuff plus 2 turns, so we'll keep doing that. Let's go. Now, because the skill flow is set up to do AoE attacks, I'm going to have to manually set that to do single targets every turn, but as you'll see, it's going to pay out pretty quickly. Now, I will say, if I keep doing single target attacks, this will take 7 or 8 turns, and with AoEs, it did take like 6 turns when I autoed it, but that's a whole other thing. So really, there's some benefit to doing AoEs. I just prefer to get rid of Haruhime faster. But that's me. Like, most people, if you've got single targets, you're going to want to do this. AoEs do get rid of it quickly, too. It really comes down to your tactic. Either way, this is not really a threatening situation. And the best part is, all of our SAs are AoE anyway. So the sooner we can get rid of Haruhime, the better. I'm going to work towards a double SA. As you'll see here in a moment, another single target. At the end of this turn, I think we can do RSAs and wipe her out. Now, once again, I do want to say, maybe I should have stuck with AoEs. I don't know, we'll auto-run one and see what happens here. But I'm going to go ahead and do a double SA with these two. Let's see, actually, before I do that, what is Ana Kitties? I don't recollect. Nothing. Remove status buffs, whatever. Who cares about that? So we're going to do her AoE and hers. And that's going to give wind damage plus 100%. Finn does strength magic and wind attack damage plus 60%. So, you know what? We'll do it anyway. We'll just stick to it anyway. Let's go. This double SA is going to hurt bad. This double SA is not going to feel good for him. And I know we don't have Haruhime's buff, but ain't really going to need it. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and focus on single targets one more time. Boom. And I was expecting her to get taken out with counters. I really was. But either way, 8 turns and she's done. So even if you have like a team of +2s or +3s, as you'll see there, it's more than effective. Like, it'll be just fine. Basically what I'm saying here is take the team you went into the event, and as you'll see here in a moment, I'll just go ahead and auto run this and see how quickly they kill it just with an auto run. But it is so unbelievably simple. And like I said, this was a 7th zone team that I put together and just ravaged it. So definitely go get your bonds, guys. And if you have skill flow set and you've got a team that can handle it, basically either a water or a wind team that is mostly max limit broken, or like this team has really good support with that Haruhime, you'll be fine. You'll be good to go. There's really nothing to worry about. They're going to absolutely dominate this event, and then you'll just... Like, honestly, for me, I think most of the time nowadays with my teams, and once again, I know I do have, like, some pretty massive teams, but my teams, generally speaking, just walk in and dominate this within, like, the first hour. Like, now that we've got skill flow, now that we can, like, literally auto-run the EX battle, I think it takes about an hour to farm up all the medals, maybe even 45 minutes in most circumstances. Just make sure your weapons are max ascended, make sure your armor's max ascended. I didn't talk about armor in this one, but honestly, they don't do any ailments, so you don't really need armor. Just best weapon, and you're good to go. So there we go. It was still 8 turns with the auto run, so it really didn't matter whether I was doing single targets or AoEs. Literally, as we noticed there, it is 6 of one, half dozen the other. So, that's the video, guys. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. Like, comment, share. I'll be back with more Danmachi. We're going to talk about Record Buster here in a little bit.